Valentine's Day is likely to be filled with romantic outings and quality time with your loved ones. However, your plans may be influenced by the weather on this special day. In the eastern U.S., particularly in parts of the Dixie Alley, severe weather alerts are in effect, with potential thunderstorms and strong winds disrupting evening plans. If you're on the West Coast, especially around Sacramento, California, be prepared for a significant snowstorm with 3 to 4 feet of snow, leading to hazardous travel conditions. It may be a perfect day for a cozy indoor celebration instead. In today's video, I will break down everything that you need to know about the weather conditions that will occur in your area on Valentine's Day and provide tips to ensure your celebration is enjoyable and stress-free. And I want to go ahead and begin with our precipitation type, as this is how we can sort of view all the precipitation in the United States. Pretty much on Valentine's Day, beginning with Friday, February 13th. This is around noontime on Friday. Like I said, there will be some rain showers in parts of Arizona and New Mexico areas, while a low pressure system is bringing snow to areas like Toronto, Canada, the main areas, and all those sort of surrounding areas as we move on into Friday late night hours. And as we move on into Valentine's Day, this is what things will pretty much be looking like early morning hours on Valentine's Day. There will be some rain showers all across parts of Texas and Oklahoma, even into parts of Arkansas, with some snow, some like isolated snowstorms in parts of New Mexico, as well as some snow and rain mix up in areas like Washington, as well as some more snow area in the areas like New York and all of those sort of surrounding areas. But our main threat for severe weather will start to kick up later Saturday night on into Sunday morning. And beginning with Saturday night, it's what things will be looking like. All the rain showers are starting to like sort of just like bunch up into one, and then it will form into the line of storms as we move on into Sunday early morning hours, like 1 to 2 a.m. And then as we move on into probably about 9 p.m. on Saturday, this is what things will be looking like. It'll be pretty much a whole line across Arkansas, Louisiana, causing some potentially isolated tornadoes, as well as a pretty significant wind threat, and this could even bring some hail with it. So that'll definitely be something to keep an eye on if you are in Louisiana and Arkansas. I will post whenever y'all need to be updated. But this line of storms will begin to move through areas like Jackson and Tupelo, Mississippi, as it moves on into Sunday around 3 a.m., and then it will start to move into the Alabama area, and that's when it starts to sort of die down in the more northern Alabama area. It sort of starts to die down just past the Huntsville-Madison area in northeast Alabama, and then it will continue to stay pretty strong as it moves through Dothan, Alabama, into parts like more southern Georgia is where it really begins to fall apart, bringing some pretty significant rain up to the Carolinas and the Virginia Beach area, with some more rain showers just off of the California area, and some snow up in the very northwest. Now I want to take a look at our composite reflectivity, as this is how we can view all of these storms in a more focusing on the storms. Does not have all the low pressure systems, high pressure systems, all the snow and stuff in the United States. But starting off with Friday around noontime, this is what things will be looking like. Some scattered rain and some isolated thunderstorms in areas like Arizona and New Mexico. This begins to move through the Texas Panhandle into the Oklahoma Panhandle as well as we move on into Valentine's Day, probably about 1 a.m. at this time, and it will begin to move on into parts of Oklahoma. It will be continuing to stay as this sort of rain shower as we move on into about 3 a.m. on Saturday. I'm not sure if I said Sunday, but if I did, I meant Saturday. And this is what things will be continuing to stay looking like. And then as it moves on more on into the Sunday hours, I guess you could say, this is what things will be looking like. It sort of starts to split off into this line of storms. And in the darker red areas is where it will be more significant. Obviously, that sort of speaks for itself if you've ever looked at a radar in your life before. But this is what things will be looking like as we move on to Sunday very early morning hours. Moving through parts of like Pine Bluff, Arkansas, even into parts of like West Monroe and just Monroe areas in Louisiana. This begins to move on into areas like Jackson, Mississippi, as we move on into Sunday late later early morning hours. So probably about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Hour mark, I guess you could say. And then this will begin to move on into Alabama as we move on into sort of later on Sunday, probably around about 6 or 7 a.m., even 8 a.m. through parts of Montgomery, Alabama, and even into Tuscaloosa. Some more scattered rain showers continuing to stay off of this into parts of like Arizona or Arkansas. Some more scattered rain showers up in the Pikeville, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky area, even into parts of Cincinnati, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, even into parts of like Richmond, North Carolina, and even potentially some rain showers around the Virginia Beach area, as well as Raleigh, South Carolina. As it moves on into Monday, it's when things will sort of start to die off with some more rain showers over in the California area, close to San Jose, and all of those areas as we move on into Monday morning hours. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at our temperatures, as this is sort of a warmer air mass clashing with the colder air mass, and that is what is creating all of this severe weather. Because if you don't know yet, once a warmer air mass clashes with a colder air mass, it begins to sort of create a storm sort of shape, I guess you could say, which creates rapid storm development, including causing storms to grow pretty fast. And once they come together, that's when they will be continuing to make more impacts as multiple storm systems collaborate, and that is what will be happening over the Oklahoma-Texas area, and then it will be fully as a line as it moves through Arkansas and Louisiana. And then there's the colder air that will be keeping the snow on the ground across much of the west coast. But beginning on Friday around noon, this is what things will be looking like. There's that colder air sort of clashing with the warmer air as we move on into Saturday. And this right here, sort of, you can't tell too much, but this is above average temperatures and this is below average temperatures. When they get all up close like this and they just like sort of start to, I guess you could say, like knock each other out of the way and sort of are like fighting back, that is what will form some of the more significant severe weather. And this is what will be causing that isolated hail and wind threat across much of Arkansas, Louisiana. And then some tornadoes start ranging through Louisiana, through Mississippi, and even into parts of Arkansas. Continuing to stay pretty cold in the Arizona area, as well as parts of like the Sacramento, San Jose, California area, keeping the snow cold in much of the west coast, and keeping the storm system sort of warm, moist air on the storm systems, which warm, moist air sort of just fuels the storm system. So you never want warm, moist air in a storm system, as it sort of begins to just help the storm grow and intense in strength. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at our dew point, as this is how we can sort of view all of the moisture and unstable air inside of the storm system, which I want to go ahead and begin with like the green. I'm just going to describe it. The darker areas are more of the areas that are not getting as much sort of moisture and dew pulled up from the Gulf Coast and the surrounding areas, while the greener and lighter areas are the more moist air, which is just sort of fueling the storm system. We're starting off Friday at noontime. This is our common start time that we're going to be looking at today. Some moisture begins to form in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, which will be driving a whole bunch of moisture, and will just be driving this storm system, just continuing to strengthen it. And this is what you don't want in a severe storm, as this will increase the tornado threat for this entire storm system, ruining more people's Valentine's Day plans, including dinner reservations, even into the next Sunday, which people like to place lunch reservations for, do sort of after things, as Valentine's Day is more of obviously packed in much of the restaurants. So some people want to do it on Sunday to sort of just keep everything, I guess you could say, just less packed and be able to have more reservations and eat in peace, I guess you could say, and not have a whole bunch of people surrounding you. But this moisture continues to stay where this storm system is going to be, driving a more significant tornado threat and wind and hail threat through much of this system. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at our total snowfall rates, as this is how we can sort of view all of the snowfall that will occur over the next few days, especially on Valentine's Day. And this is what things will be looking like Friday, February 13th, around noontime. The day before Valentine's Day is some pretty significant amounts of snow up in the northeast, which we already have winter weather advisories across much of Maine, and a few winter storm warnings. And our main threat for winter weather will be in the California, Nevada area as we move on into Valentine's Day, obviously, and then Colorado will be getting some more snow. So if you're a big skier, this will really support what you like to do. And as we move on into Valentine's Day, this is what things will be looking like. Some more snow just begins to build up across much of the United States, which will just, I'm not sure if people really would like the snow, but I just really want to highlight how much snow we could receive in Sacramento, California, which that is probably upwards of 4 feet of snowfall. So if you are in Sacramento, California, brace yourself for this winter storm event, as this will be causing some pretty significant amounts of snowfall. And this is only through February 16th, and this snow event will continue to last through probably about February 20th. And considering you already have about 2 to 3 feet of snow just to the 16th, which is in 6 days from now, so things could still change, could still strengthen, could still de-strengthen, I guess you could say, and just decrease in strength over the next few days. But this could also shift a few different ways. It could shift more towards the Los Angeles, San Jose area, I believe is what it's called, into more of the Sacramento, California areas, as this is just off to the west of Sacramento, California. And as we move on into, obviously, February 20th, the snow will continue to build up to probably about 4 to 6 feet of snow. So like I said, if you're in Sacramento, California, brace yourselves for this. And then just off of the East Coast, we could be seeing a pretty significant amount of snow as well, just off of the coast of Rhode Island and New Jersey. However, that was all I had to talk about today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see y'all in the next video. I hope this gave y'all some tips on sort of how to plan. I will most likely be going live during this severe weather event. If it gets serious enough and produces tornadoes or anything like that, I will begin to go live doing live broadcasting coverage, just like your local news station, except I don't have a green screen for that. I will be doing everything digitally, and I hope y'all enjoy. I've got a lot to work on over the next few days, so most likely not a lot of videos working up to Valentine's Day, as I have to work on my scenes for my live streams. Overall, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, got a lot out of this. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.